That's how you build your barrier. So I'll be close. Nobody you take my rights away. That's right. I'm a rush. You can't deny me. You can't decide to turn your face away. No matter what, something inside so strong. I know that I can take it. Though you do me wrong, so wrong. But then my pride was torn. Oh no. Something inside so strong.
If the venue had space. I said it was for a book launch. I failed to explain that this afternoon was just not be someone sat at the table signing copies. So I have to thank, I know he's not here, but Shane, Sean, George, Andy and Michelle for their incredible patience that we put this afternoon together. Actually, did anybody see the actress from Killing Eve when she got an award? Remember what she said in typical Scouse humour that our own Nan used to say? You get that from me. Well, after this, we've got wine and canopies. So that's in about an hour. So I brought some supplies. Where's Steve Keller? Come here, Steve. Come here. Come here. I'm a big believer that things pass down our genes, so I bought Steve Kelly this. Do you know why? Do you know why? He's the father of Steve Graham's, the actor, Line of Duty, and at the awards, when he got his glasses out, he pulled out a Kit Kat, and his reason was he didn't feed them during the awards, so I get it. Recorded, and she can't be here because of the traffic and the parking. But on a count of three, would you please wish Liz Quartley happy birthday so she can see it on the video? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, because she can't be here, which is a real shame. Right, let me do some practical matters. The website will be completed in a few weeks, won't it, Kim? Yes, I. When the video of today will be uploaded, along with an e-book copy of the book, and the book is outside. There's also an archive exhibition of all your photographs, so we're going to arrange a mid-week gathering, probably at Central Library, where we can watch it all together. And I'm sure Les will tell you that's a great experience, isn't it? Yeah. And then it'll go online. So I'll let you know the day, and I hope that you'll all turn up. It would have made the day too long today, and Michelle would have had a fit if I said, could I have another hour? She's the one that's spoken to me. Okay, Michelle Allen sent me a text that says something like, today is celebrating me, and my immediate response was no. We are here to celebrate all of you. I'm only here because of your huge trust in sharing your own and your mother's lives. Over the last 2 years, I'm going to do it now, I have laughed and cried in your company, and it's been amazing. With each conversation, I've missed my own mother all the more, especially when sharing a cuppa with Madge. I don't know where Madge is. Where is she? Over there. I look at you and I think, if my mum was still alive, I'd like her to be like you. Enjoying life, travelling, you know, doing everything together. People over the years have often asked me, why do you always turn up with food, Samuel?
Reach the boat.
Because my dad taught me that when you go into someone's house, you carry food, because you don't want their table to ever be empty. And there have been payoffs. Barry George, who's not here, for example, always arrives with curry goat to my house. I used to be anorexic, you know, before this project. I've always been good. Food aside, together we have wandered the streets of memories, and in doing so discovered that so many of our lives have not just been concurrent but intermingled. We have shared homes as both lodgers and landlords, classrooms and in some cases prison cells. Those of us who are fathers of African have called so many men uncle because our families are linked by that continent. It is true there's been hardship, incredibly heartbreaking times, but at the same time some of us were lucky and not only went on holiday, but got shoes, David. But we have come through. I mean, look at us. We are not confused people because we have one white parent and one black. We have from both our parents grown strong and determined, even those of us who wasted our youth under hospitality for Majesty's service, because only the stupid stay stupid all of their lives. And to be fair, for those who made the first generation, I think we have to understand the particular hardship of living through the early 40s and 50s. Obviously, I wasn't born in the 40s and 50s. I'm talking more about men. With fathers who faced such harsh racism that some of them didn't know how to nurture, and I think that's the word, especially the nurture of their sons. But every breath we take, every day we live, their spirits, brothers, sisters, parents who can no longer join us at the table, they live on in us. And while we may not get invitations to weddings, birthday parties and other celebrations, we will always turn out like a village, united for funerals. We do not allow our people to leave this world without us uniting as a wall of solidarity in support of the families. I'm going to stop now with a little quote from Anne Sarge. She probably has forgotten she didn't send me this text. The project has opened my eyes as to not just how our parents, but how geography has affected our lives. African tribal cultures, Irish, English, all affected our outlook on life. Potatoes or Gary, fufu or chips, no bloody wonder we are characters, and I wouldn't change it. Welcome.
And look at the sun, it's clumping there. And I think the place blinking. Love is the message, the message is love. That's sweet, the mountains to the
I shop in the Barbican in Charlton most days, and it's quite interesting that how many times someone said to me, "Is she your sister?" Wait, you mean that black woman over there that's 6'10" foot tall? You know, that kind of association. Or your husband's behind you and you go, "Oh, you mean the Asian one over there?" So a few years ago, I was going to Lancaster University and everybody said, "You have to know Muller, you know Muller." I didn't know what he was at all. But I met this beautiful woman, we went outside another flat, she stopped working with. And I found somebody whose life parallels were just there. You know that thing again about family? This is some point. Molly's mum was the first person I interviewed on this project, and she passed not long after that. But Molly had already been writing, she'd met her father late in life, she started a book, and she's going to read an extract from that now. And she is my sister, and she's called Molly.
Thanks. I'm just going to briefly introduce you to my three characters. Ade, 1945. When we could view the port in Liverpool, I was relieved at the thought of putting my feet on the earth again. The breeze was strong and cold, and I shivered inside my woolen coat. James came to stand on the deck with me and slipped his hand into mine for just a moment. "I'm sorry." "No, Ade, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry." Tears slip out easily and James holds my hand tighter until I feel the bones squeezing against each other. Passenger beside James speaks. Yes, it's like that when you see the motherland. Tears, what a lucky girl you are. So many of your people would love to be where you are right now. James moves his body slightly to shield me from him. He holds me close to his side, and though he doesn't say it, I know he loves me. Elizabeth. It'll be strange to call this house home again. 22 years I've been away from here. It feels right. Mum's getting older. She doesn't go upstairs anymore. The house would have fallen to pieces if I hadn't had the work done. It's happening all around here, big, old, beautiful houses falling apart. They sit there in their overgrown gardens with bits falling off them. Elizabeth, what you they do? You come now, right now. The light goes on and Mum's standing at the door with her hands on her hips. I walk straight up to her and she gets hold of me tight. I'm crying. She feels so small now. I can't remember the last time I hugged her. As usual, she smells of Tiger Balm. Her short hair is neat and soft and gently curled. She must have been to the hairdresser's. She still starches her clothes. I can feel the stiffness in the material. I got her a lovely house dress thing, but she insists on wearing her African prints. I need a tissue. Mum leads me to the table, and although it's only 12:15, there's a bowl of a goosey soup and a smooth round of eba. So, daughter, talk to me. Coots. My mum's well off a bounce now, and it ain't like we knew him and that. Like, I don't understand. Why have we got to feel shit? Because I don't. And my nan don't either from the way she's acting, and I've got my own stuff to deal with in it. I'm checking on my nan every day, and then I come home and I'm checking on my mum, and she's acting like really weird, and we should be packing now and moving, but my nan's going on about ghosts in the house. And if my mum hears her going on like that, she won't want to move. And I want my own flat, yeah? So my nan can better keep it down. Anyways, I'll still move even if my mum don't. It'd be better, because then I'd have my own way and I wouldn't have to see her every day.
I was reading a book about Phil Lynott from Tin Lizard. And in it, his mum writes about how she was working for this white woman who was married to a black man, and how she was cleaning and doing it, and how this woman was a bitch. And I thought, well, that's my Auntie Joseph. And it was my Auntie Joseph. But after a solo, she told me how my Auntie Josie, who had 4 black kids, said, oh, don't marry a black man. Whatever you do, don't marry a black man. My Auntie Josie used to say the best things in life are, this is right, isn't it? I'll just steal the a packet of Kensington cigarettes, a pint of Guinness, and a black man. So obviously she didn't want to share. Yeah. We're going to have a little example of what it is to be us.
Each day I wake up, put pen to paper, scribble down notes. I have this position, the interpretation of what I represent has visible light across a narrow band of wavelengths. I seek the hummingbird, singing with a zephyr, mixing paint on palettes, blowing colours of the wind into a diaspora, lungs that built my shelter. Standing on mountain tops, a stream of thought carved out its journey through a valley of tangible habitats. My hair curls, folds like crisp paper origami, displaying pathways not parallel, just all mixed up. My caramel skin punched the compass to my forever infrastructure. I often think I'm alone, but I assimilate the characteristics of everything I've ever known, without my skin pigmentation ever changing. Every feeling conveyed in this vernacular could eclipse any reluctant tongue not to speak this language. My hands oscillate, alleviate, craft and collapse, relapse to orchestrate a symphonic rhythmic flow syntax. My lips aren't symmetrical, they have contrasting outlines. Amongst the crowd, you try and pick out this vagabond passing through derelicts. It's in this neighbourhood, indigenous stained glass windows, I look through the mirror, my reflection, a fringe metropolis, my ancestry in dispute, standing either side of the fence. I thought at one time my family name was bounded by a German pretzel, when in actual fact it's held by a Scottish floral bracelet, carried by an American bald eagle, passing a torch through the Caribbean spice slums of Trinidad, wearing the national coat of arms of South Africa, making this community centerfold. And my anatomy was built in Manchester, a place where I'll always gravitate and breathe.
Last night I heard the screaming, loud voices behind the wall. Another sleepless night for me, it won't do no good to call the police. Always come late if they come at all. Last night I heard the screaming, loud voices behind the wall. Another sleepless night for me, it won't do no good to call the police. Always come late if they come at all. And when they arrive, they say they can't interfere with domestic affairs between a man and his wife. And as they walk out the door, the tears well up in her eyes. Last night I heard the screaming, then a silence that chilled my soul. Prayed that I was dreaming when I saw the ambulance in the road. And the policeman said, I'm here to keep the peace. Will the crowd disperse? I think we all could use some sleep. Last night I heard the screaming, loud voices behind the wall. Another sleepless night for me, it won't do no good to call the police. Always come late if they come at all.
I was 17, so I was very young. My parents weren't wildly ecstatic. I said, if I can't invite this man to my home, then I suppose I'd better go and find another home. So I moved out.
I left school on a Friday when I was 14 in 1941. We were all poor. That was the thing. Nobody was richer. I didn't know many black women. They came later on, many with their children.
My ma was raised by her grandmother, an Irish woman in Scotty Road, Liverpool. My mummy was a war bride. She was born in New South Wales in Australia, where you could be put in jail for fraternising with coloured people. My mum is a formidable Manchester woman. She's got long hair down her back, dark, like a brunette. But she could never do my bloody hair.
My mother was a spiteful old bitch. I was my mother's first child to go to grammar school. I never met any black people before then.
My mother was half Spanish, half Irish. She had long black hair. She would tell me stories how she got spatter.
My mum, my real mother, she was from America. She was tall, slim, blonde, and always well dressed. Mum grew up during the war in Austria. Her school wanted her to go to university.
I went to a fee-paying girls' school. I was from Bradford in Manchester near the gasworks. He was from here in Hume. He didn't have any black friends.
Mum and Dad met at the Ritz Ballroom. They got married at Gretna Green. I don't think my grandma ever spoke to my mum after she met up with my dad. I don't even remember her name. Dad never walked Mum home when they were courting. It was too dangerous. My mother is incredibly brave. She was ostracised and put down. I don't think she had any close friends.
Was I blinded by love? Well, of course, yeah. But I wasn't that blinded that I didn't see his bad points. He was a charmer. He could charm anybody. He said he fancied me because I had big boobs and a car. He said, you marry me now or you don't marry me at all.
He went to kiss me. And I fell into the teachers. And everybody couldn't stop laughing. It did bother my mum and my dad. He was a fire eater with feathers on his costume. He did his shows in the Reno Club in Moss Side. He wouldn't marry me for a long time. We were courting for almost 2 years before we got married.
My parents always said they didn't have to get married. Mum was younger than Dad by about 35 years.
I used to hear a lot of crying and screaming. There was a lot of violence, a lot of verbal abuse.
Now, I never went out drinking.
We never went to the city centre. We stayed around Hume and Moss Side.
Me and my mates went to the Nile. And there wasn't a door on the toilet, just a curtain and no light. So when you were having a pee, somebody had to stand in front.
Oh, we went in the Reno one night and the ink spots came in.
I don't want to set the world on fire.
My mother was always singing and she loved to dance. Nobody could beat my mum for her shoes that she bought from Derby's and always wore with American tan tights.
My mom was from a very working class family. My dad was very proud, hardworking, family man, strong character, and more educated.
That woman had many boyfriends, black ones and white ones.
When I met him, I thought I just couldn't let him go. My mother also thought he was wonderful. But as soon as the booze took hold, he turned into a completely different person.
He looked just like Errol Brown from Hot Chocolate and was determined that he was going to marry me. I was 17, so I was very young, which did bother my parents. He won the polls once. Meanwhile, me and the kids were living poor because he never shared anything with us. The money didn't last long. He tried to be a bossy husband. He kept saying, well, you're at home with the kids not doing anything.
Friends said, you've got to think about the children. I thought, look up. The nurse was shocked to see the baby was black.
We bounced me and my sisters in and out of care homes. Once, twice, 3, 4 times. I lost count.
We came home from work one day, and this National Front leaflet was on the floor. It had pictures of black children and some rubbishy writing. They must have put it through our door on purpose. I just threw it in the bin. I was 31, 32, with 2 young children.
And I remember a woman asked me, are you a childminder? I said, no, she's all mine.
I haven't got a dirty face. I'm Mummy's lovely baby.
She could have had me adopted, but she kept me. She could have easily had a backstreet abortion, easily.
Racial identity is not something we spoke about in my house. It wasn't different enough, really, I don't think, to merit discussion. really.
I experienced racism some way or other, but I never absorbed it.
I got called a blackbird. I used to think, well, they are beautiful birds.
Oh, I've heard them all. Blackie, Sambo,
Nignog.
Chalk Eyes, Gollywog.
Black bastard. Nigger.
Nigger. Nigger.
My mum always stuck up for me whenever anybody looks at me sideways. Like, when I was about 18, I remember she pulled up my clothes and she said,
Look, she has got clean knickers on.
when she stuck up for me like that, I used to think, there's my mum, fighting my corner.
You see him? That's my fucking boy. You poke him one more time now, I will kill you. I will kill you.
I know why you don't like him, but he is mine and I will fucking kill you.
I was a second-class person in our house. I got the margarine and her kids, the white ones, got the butter. She must have seen my dad every time she looked at me with some hatred for a long time. You know you've had a bad upbringing when you pee the bed constant.
Once some woman said to me, You're taking our men off us.
People thought that women like our mums were just good time girls. They thought that a white woman with a black man was a prostitute. End of. When we moved into the council estate, the neighbours put up a petition. They didn't want the black family moving in.
The first house we moved to had snails and shit like that. Even then, my mum got a lot of shit. My dad did too. To keep warm, we'd put coats on the beds, twist up the newspaper to make the fire last longer. If we all went to bed on a Sunday because the lights went off, we all went. Mum and dad too. Our family was a unit.
There's always been a unity between the Africans and the Irish. Like, I remember when I was little, someone said, Can I touch your hair? And my granddad said, No, you fucking can't.
I remember it like it was yesterday, when my mom walked out of work and got everyone to leave with her because they called cotton nigger brown. That woman scrubbed floors so we had everything and anything we needed. She had a raging Irish temper. She wouldn't put your windows in if you ever did anything to me.
Colour was never a big thing in our family. My mum always said there's two types of people, the good and the bad. So I should just be myself because colour's just colour.
When my children were little, they brought out those ethnic monitoring forms. Well, I wouldn't fill them in because I thought something horrible would happen. You know, like with the Jews. But one day they'd take my children away because they were mixed raced. So I just always refused to fill that stuff in. Just wanted to protect my children.
Mum, what am I supposed to put on this form? It says blah de blah de blah.
Well, what do you think you should put on?
I don't know.
Just put whatever you want, who cares?
If it's the one for college, just put down that you're black, you'll get in. What are you looking at? You all play the system when you need the money.
Our mothers were regarded as shit because they were our mothers. White women, especially if single with white kids, can easily be absorbed in society. But dark-skinned children would hamper their survival. Think that's a dilemma some of our mothers faced? It was all about survival. That's why so many stuck together, protecting each other, making the best out of each other's strategies.
We didn't have a lot. We had fuck all. We didn't have a childminder. We had a shepherd. My mum was the backbone of the house. She's the one who taught me impeccable manners, how to be confident, even to what cutlery to use. If it had been left to my dad, we'd been using our fingers. I had a great relationship with my mum. It's wild. She's the one who would give us a crack. My dad used to say, My hands are too big to hit them. I always remember having a really happy childhood. I had two hard-working parents who grafted.
Once I bought the house, that was the beginning of the end of the marriage. The divorce was really, really difficult. The judge awarded me £2.50 per child per week. I was gaslighted. I was double and triple gaslighted, and I didn't even know I was being gaslighted. It was a mixed up black bag in the white man's world. one of us was going to end up dead. And I had no intentions of it being me.
His own doctor came in the next day. And I said he's dead. No, I didn't have a wake. Everybody loved him. God, even the dog was moping. My kids were distraught when he died, and I will never forget it. Never. This beautiful, beautiful smile came on his face, like someone had come to meet him.
I wasn't even with him when he died. I knew he was dying. He knew he was dying. I didn't get married again. But I did find love.
Mom always said Dad was dead. I mourned him secretly on my own. Truth was, he died 2 weeks before I found him. I have a picture he kept in his wallet for 40 years. My mom always said, can't wait to be with your dad in heaven. I used to think, what the fuck for? Dad, I'm sure, was a bit of a jackanori, but Mom loved him. That's just how it was. My mom loved my dad, and my dad loved my mom. We grew up in the 50s, just after the war, really. So things were just the way they were. My parents were married for 68 years.
My ma looked like an angel. Beautiful, blonde, slim, medium height, heart of gold. 11 kids. I used to love being cuddled by my ma. She was beautiful, you know, in spirit and physically. Hers was the first real death of the family. It was the first time I ever saw my father cry. He loved my mum. She was the linchpin of the family. When my dad died, we went over to the wardrobe and all my mum's clothes were still there.
She looked into my soul and looked away. That was the last time I saw her. She died that day. My mum never racially abused any of us. I felt really loved. Felt really looked after.
I went over and sat on the bed. And as I held her, I knew. Then she was gone. As I lied there and held her in my arms, I said, I'm going to make you proud. And it's been like that from that day onwards.
When I stopped the drugs, she was the proudest mother. She went into a coma and died that night. If Mum was still here, I'd say, I always loved you. In fact, I adored you.
Who do I look like? Both of them? Both of them. I'm mixed. My mum's Scottish and my dad's Nigerian. I'm African. I look more like my mum, but with a straight nose. We're always well fed, and my mum was spotless. Absolutely spotless. I'm mixed. I've got black in me and white. My life was a bit like living in two different worlds. We'd have the black family and the white family, and on Sunday we had a Sunday roast followed by tinned fruit pineapple cubes. I always remember that on the weekend my dad would come down in his beautiful African clothes. My mum always said, doesn't he look good? You know, they took part in this BBC programme about mixed marriages. I lived in a very black family. And I got my boobs from my mum.
Definitely we had the best of both worlds. We had the English feed, we had the African feed. We had the African upbringing, we had the English upbringing. Together, they were just rock solid. Am I allowed to say I'm a half-caste? Or should I say mixed race? I am a half-caste. Hardworking, 61, family man. I definitely was half-caste because everybody said half-caste. So half-caste, 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 you know? One day, I got arrested. They took me to the station and said,
Name, religion.
I said half-caste. The Longside police station screeched to a halt. I don't know why they said.
Half caste isn't a religion.
I said it's mine. And then for a little while, I was Afro-European. I thought that was amazing.
I am mixed. Black, white, Irish. Which at one time were all discriminated against. I remember seeing a sign and it said,
No Irish, no dogs, no blacks.
on the same sign. I never had any disagreements with my mum. She always taught us to know our African heritage.
I tried to bring them up to be well-adjusted people.
I've got black in me and white in me. Mixed race. Ah.
I say to my kids, without your dad, you wouldn't be here. So somewhere along the line, after all the shit that we went through, had to be worth it. And most importantly, I knew that he loved his kids. He simply loved his kids.
I knew one fella whose mum threw a blanket over his head every time she took him out. If mum was still here, I'd say, let me take you on holiday, mum. She always said we were the best thing in life.
I loved him. We had our arguments, but we lasted 50 years.
Do I regret my marriage? Do I, Bugger? I've got 2 beautiful children out of it.
I have no regrets about marrying. We've celebrated 52 years of marriage.
The truth is, we lived in an era where it was hard for women. Very hard. Everything you did was watched, and everybody had something to say if you wandered off from what was considered good and acceptable.
Bloody true that. You only had to be missing for 30 minutes and the neighbours would say,
She's run off with a black man!
and we did.
Tim Nell lost his mum not so long ago, 2 weeks ago, and he's also had a stroke, which is why I think it was a perfect day. So I want you to know that it doesn't matter, as we're just proud to say it out there. So did you enjoy that?
Oh.
Well, I have to say the cast of MMU, 5 days.
Rumour.
Outside is a book. You can take as many copies as you want. HLF, we're not allowed to say this, never got to sell it, I'll flog it to you. Not allowed to sell it. You can take as many copies as you want for every member of your family. This is your history, this is our history. And I'm really trying to get Afro Soul published as well. You know, because we need that as well. And I thank you on behalf of all my I really about. Oh, going off again. Thank you.